Would you like to live your best life possible, regardless of your imperfections? Discover cutting-edge tools and inspiration to let go of your limitations and expand your life beyond what you've ever imagined. On Imperfect Brilliance, we help you tap into your unique gifts and talents, uncovering and letting your brilliance shine. Join certified facilitator and coach Betsy McLaughlin as she delves into different areas of your life to get unstuck and create the life that is truly possible for you. Betsy has changed her life by utilizing the tools and techniques she is sharing with you. What if your willingness to acknowledge your brilliance is the catalyst to creating a new reality? When you stop judging you, what else can you create in your life and in the world? Join Betsy live every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern to create magical and joyous possibilities for an hour of laughs, questions, tips, and more. We are excited to contribute and play with you.
Hello, 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 everybody. This is not Betsy, but she is in the house. This is Christine Ciona here, and I am with Betsy. Hello, Betsy.
Hello.
And I'm also here with Michelle. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, hi, hi.
We are flipping the switch today. Welcome to Imperfect Brilliance, where today we are all about being undefined. And so we're just mixing it up a little bit. I'm really glad to be here and to step into some fun questions and stories and celebrations together for what undefined actually can be, and what if being undefined and choosing undefined and not even knowing what that means might actually be a great gift and capacity that you might have. So I'm really happy to be here and excited to have both of you amazing, brilliant creatures here with me to have this conversation about being undefined. So let's get the party started.
Love it.
What is undefined? What the heck is that? Do we dare define undefined?
That's a great question. How do you undefine what you've been defining? What would you say there?
Well, when I was listening to the intro to the call to your amazing Imperfect Brilliant show, some of the things they were saying is letting go of limitation and tapping into your gifts and talents and your brilliance so you can shine and to get unstuck. And when I think about the word undefined, is if we were actually, willing to be undefined, willing to let go of, definitions, what gifts would show up? What limitations could we let go of? And that's kind of exciting for me to jump into like an undefined land. It's like Indigo Girls had this song called Get Out the Map. Get out the map, get out the map, and lay your finger anywhere down. And I just think, oh my God, if we got out the map and we just put our finger somewhere and went, oh, I'm going to go there. I don't know where it is. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know who lives there, but that's where I'm going today. And that, for me, is a sense of freedom. When you're undefined, you can just get out the map and go.
That's really fun. What does it bring up for you, Michelle?
Well, I'm going to be really undefined because I got booted out of the call, and now I have no idea what we're talking about.
That's great.
Hilarious. Welcome to Undefined.
Right? Undefined. Like, I don't even have a definition for it.
Yay.
I think it's out of all the things. Let's talk about out of all the things.
Yes. Michelle, as you mentioned that, this out of all the things, this image that popped for me was seeing like a 5-year-old, someone in kindergarten or even in grade 4 or even 4 years old, like they draw a picture. And to them, it's a dinosaur and a lizard or a magic bubblegum making machine. Like, it's something. But everyone else looks at it, and they have no idea what that is. And they try to decide what it is. And I remember as a kid, having these amazing pictures and looking at it, and then the teacher would go, oh, what is that? A flower? I'm like, no. What is that? A hippopotamus? No. And I would see something totally different. And then they would say, oh, that's not a flower. Or that isn't really, Christine, what that is. That actually looks like a dinosaur. And it's so interesting, the freedom of the little creature to be able to just draw a doodle and know what it is. And even if everyone around you says, no, actually it doesn't look like a flower or it doesn't look like that, you know what it is without having to change your mind if someone else can't see the magic.
Wow, there's so much in what you actually just said, like the freedom of not limiting yourself anywhere. And then the next piece of that, where you will go wherever, no matter if anybody else sees what you see or, knows what you know. And is that part of where you actually are like blasting through barriers and reasons why you might stop yourself? And, so looking at that, it's how many different ways can we go past all of the barriers that we've put up? And I would love for you guys to share some of the things that you've experienced where you've done that or been that in your own lives and what that has created for you.
That actually reminds me, I was on a call earlier today, and a woman was talking about how frustrating dating was for her, and that everyone that keeps showing up is just like a no, a no, a no, a no. And it reminded me of how I am with dating, because I think a lot of times we define what a person should be like or how they should show up. And a few years ago, I was choosing to just meet people and see who they were and not have any definition around it, or not fit it into something. And so I met this man who I really enjoyed his company. I really liked him, but we didn't have a romantic connection necessarily. So instead of throwing it out like I normally would, because it didn't fit the definition of romance, and that's what I was doing, I was like, well, let's just play this out and see where it goes. We ended up becoming really good friends, and he bought a house, like a investment house in a town that I was moving to, and we didn't communicate with each other about this. And it just worked out where I ended up getting to live in his house for a year, which contributed a lot to my world. But had I had defined, oh, he's not for me, so just forget about it, we would have never become friends, and I would have never got to live in that house.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that something? Wow.
Yeah.
And undefined, like, where you might have said, well, he's not a romantic relationship, so I'm not going to pursue it. And then, this is such a neat story, and there's so many, I'm sure, just hundreds and hundreds of examples that we can all think of in our own lives where, that has played out. So does anything pop for you, Christine?
Yeah, I was writing down, I love it. As we're having these conversations, I'm jotting down things that are popping for me in everyone's words. It's beautiful. I wrote down, Michelle, as you were speaking, what if the difference is the best choice ever? And that being undefined is being willing to see the difference, being willing to see the opposite, being willing. And And then images, every single TV show, which is like the antithesis of what we're talking about, like, the image of West Side Story or, Grease, the movie Grease, where it's, this group and that group. And right now, we've got lots of definitions going on in the world of A or B or right or left or this or that. And if we could melt that away and just be the difference, and what is the different choice that I could be right now that actually would flip this completely on its head? And that's what you were choosing there. I have a date, and I could go in this is how I think we should be dating. This is what going on a date looks like. But if I could be the difference here, what radical difference can I be that actually could flip this completely in a way I don't even know where it's going to go? And that's the leap. Am I willing to actually not have a conclusion here and just have the adventure of this play space and see what happens?
Well, and I'm wondering too, so you're talking, we're talking about blowing the parameters off, maybe parameters that you've put in your life. You've talked about, flipping things on their heads and upside down and everything. So for people listening who might be like, I don't really feel comfortable doing that, for the variety of reasons that could be popping in somebody's world, I would love for us to explore a little bit about what questions they could explore, or, even if you guys have stories that you could talk about.
So, Betsy, something's popping for me. I'll share. And I mean, sometimes I think it's easy when things are hard to get stuck into, like, the drama or the hard story. And so I'm just going to share a little bit. Many, many moons ago, this piece about what if being the difference is that flip of being undefined. And we often don't know when we're defining ourselves into anything, because we're just living our life. So we don't know that we're concluding stuff until all of a sudden things start to feel crunchy. So a crunchy experience I had when I was younger is I had childhood cancer when I was 13. And even just the word cancer, I'm sure there's a lot of people listening, and that brings up a lot of thoughts or feelings or conclusions or definitions of what that means or what that might be like. And one of the things that I did, and I was 13 at the time, one of the things that I did is I brought a camera. My parents gave me a couple different cameras. I got a camera and I got a Polaroid kind of, I don't know what kind of camera it was, but it would click out automatic photos. And I took it into everything I ever had at the hospital. So I took photos of everything.
Oh, wow.
And we were looking totally weirdos in the hospital, because there I am in a room of sick kids and people are bald and all, like, whatever you want to imagine is probably happening. And meeting a doctor, and he's about to give me a needle. I'm like, oh, can I take a picture? Ding, ding, ding. And so, like, I'm like, it was such a radical different choice in that landscape where you're sick or someone is, dying or unwell or you're bankrupt or like anything that's funky and chunky and heavy. There could be, you just need a sliver of a moment to create light and space in that. And I have no idea what bringing a camera into the photos, all the things would do. I mean, my grandmother even came in while I was getting a lumbar puncture and my ass is to the wind, and my grandmother's going, can I take a picture of you and my granddaughter? And she's like taking a picture with the doctor in my bare ass. And it was just like, there's opportunity for space and ease everywhere if you allow it.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to say that again. Like, there's an opportunity for space and light everywhere if you allow it. And when I conclude that cancer will be hard, it squishes the possibility of space. When I conclude that this date's going to either be awesome or suck, I contract the possibility of light and space. And all it takes is a moment. It could be having some markers beside you and a journal. It could be bringing a drawing box. It could be bringing your camera into something. It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be an effort to create ease. I'll say that again. It doesn't have to be effort to create ease. So that's the piece. You could be having hard, tough times going on right now. And what if you allowed some light and some space in your day? And what if that light and space actually could be just a nanosecond of a choice to flip all of this into a different possibility for you?
So many great questions there, and it doesn't have to be hard to create ease, and that can kind of be the opposite of what many people think, that it's really hard to change, it's really hard to get out of habits, it's really hard to break patterns and cycles, and so I know that we're about to go to break, so let's think of, over the break time, let's look at a couple of maybe questions that we could share with what we could do to flip that switch. So stay tuned, y'all, for Imperfect Brilliance, where we're being completely undefined today.
Free your mind with OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organisation, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Connect at OMTimes.com. OMTimes, creating a more conscious lifestyle.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
Are you looking to change anything in your life, to have an even greater appreciation of everything around you? Would you enjoy having a life of more joy and greater abundance, and explore what is possible for you? My name is Betsy McLaughlin, and I invite you to explore simple and pragmatic tools that I share on my radio show, Imperfect Brilliance. I know firsthand that you can change anything. We explore tools and questions with amazing guests, offering all kinds of conversations on living your best life. I invite you to listen in Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern to Imperfect Brilliance. Consider a coaching call with me and let's explore what you would like your life to be like. Visit my website at www.creatingyumminess.com, and you're invited to call in to Imperfect Brilliance with your questions, Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. I look forward to connecting.
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #AloneTogether. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Imperfect Brilliance. I'm Michelle Lyall here with Betsy McLaughlin and Christine Ciona, and we're talking about Undefined. And before break, we were talking about some questions, and, I was thinking for those listeners out there who are probably wondering, how the heck do I even know that I'm defined or get out of definition?
Absolutely. It's like, what do you mean I'm defining myself? There's, like, a lot of times I think people think of archetypes or the roles that we play, and the roles that we play can define us, So people can say I'm a mom, I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor, I'm a healthcare provider, I'm a teacher, I'm a kid, I'm a sister. Like, and all of those things we think we are can define us if we make that a big deal for us, or I'm a cancer survivor, or I'm a alcoholic, or I'm a whatever. So those are kind of some simple definitions that we often have. And what are those for you? What are you choosing in your life, and are there roles that you have in your life that are working for you, that are not working for you?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yes. I love that. Is it working for you? And if it isn't working for you, then what would you like to change? And the thing is that we can change anything. And often I have in my life certainly felt like I couldn't change anything. And it was exactly that point of view that kept me from being able to change things. So, if there's anywhere in your own life where you might be thinking, I can't change it, or this is impossible, or I don't know what to do, or how much of those exact thoughts are what's keeping you from being undefined. So what if you actually started asking questions like, what could I create here? What would bring me more fun and more joy, and what lights me up? Those kinds of questions. And then Christine was sharing with us too, and I'll let her tell you what it is. If those kind of questions don't work for her, Christine, what's another thing you do that will get things to flip for you?
Sure. So one of the things that I can forget is that my body is a great contributor to everything in my life. And so if I'm finding that I can't create the space or ease that I'm asking for, I will actually invite my body to do some magic for me. So I will shake, I will move my body, I will get up out of the chair, I will go for a walk with my dog around the block. And sometimes I will actually just shake. Like, human beings are the only species on the planet that don't shake, right? Like, animals shake, dogs shake, chickens shake, dolphins shake. Human beings don't shake. I think we're just too uptight or something. So if I actually start moving my body and start to shake a little bit, shake my hands, I'm doing it right now, shaking my hands or wiggle my belly, it just starts to physically change things and shakes my head up a little bit, because I can start to laser focus my life. And that doesn't really create much for me. So I will actually start to shake and move my body a little bit. And then as a really wonderful doctor who is a wizard of great things, I would go, well, what would Dr. Seuss do? Like, if I'm making this harder than it needs to be, what fun can I have, tapping into the wizardry of Dr. Seuss, and just bringing the joy and the ease back into the conversation of whatever that is. See what shows up for you.
I love it. What would Dr. Seuss do? So what would Dr. Seuss do?
Great question. Well, let me see what's crunchy. You know, I think, well, he would rhyme for one. I think sometimes what feels crunchy for people, for me myself, some things that I define myself in is my money flows or how money is supposed to come up and show up for me. And so I definitely have definitions about money, and I use lots of tools in my life to clear those out and have the universe just abundantly shower me with with wealth and prosperity in ways I don't even know. So yeah, I mean, I'm thinking if you guys are out there listening and you do have some crunch with money and you're asking, well, Christine, that just seems absolutely ridiculous. What would Dr. Seuss do? Maybe we could rhyme it out. And I would just say, off the top of my head, I would say, write down all the thoughts you have about money. And then see if you can make it rhyme. So I'm going to rhyme. I'm going to pull it out the top of my head and the bottom of my butt. Let's see what we can do. So money is big and money is small. Money comes to anyone who asks of all. So everywhere I'm not asking for bliss, I would rather have money than take a big, There we go. I don't. Oh my God.
Well, that's funny. It went to a very strange place.
It did. It came out of my head and out of my mouth, just like that.
And this is being totally undefined. Sorry, go ahead, hon.
Oh, I was just saying that part of it is just having fun. Just going with the flow and having fun. When we get really serious and locked into our definitions, we can tell we're not having fun and everything gets really stiff.
Absolutely. You know, and during the break, we were chatting, and I mentioned a storybook. So if you guys haven't guessed, I really like the silliness of life. And, I mean, I bring a freaking video camera into cancer treatment. Like, life is pretty fun. You may as well enjoy it. So a story popped up for me, which in my brain, I never thought of it as about being defined and undefined, but was the children's story, The Emperor's New Clothes. And if I remember, you know, think about this book, you've got a king and he's royal and he's grand and he hires these tailors to come and make him a beautiful suit and gets him these clothes. And I mean, sure, there's some hidden agendas by the tailors. They just want to, you know, take his cash and run. However, it's all about your point of view. Like that emperor, he goes out and he's totally buck naked, but he believes that he is just royally looking beautiful and radiant and glorious. And he's absolutely right. Until he starts to believe everyone around him, judging him about how silly he is and this and that and whatever. So when you're undefined, you're not buying the judgments of anyone around you. Like, yes, you might be a mom. Yes, you might be a dad. Yes, you might be a teacher or a healthcare provider, whatever that is. But if you have no definition about what that is for you, then you could be any kind of mom you like, and you could change it all the time. You could be the emperor and walk out onto the royal carpet and be stunning in whatever you're wearing because it's from here, it's from within. And so when everyone else around you has a different point of view of what type of emperor you are or what type of mother you are, let them, because that is what they see. What you see is something different. And that's the undefining, is you're untangling yourself from everyone else's expectations of what it means to be the emperor in his new clothes or what it means to be the mom at the PTA meeting. You get to choose who you're being today. And if who you're choosing to be today isn't working for you, then ask for something different.
I love that. That's just beautiful. Like, ask for something different. Wow. And I wonder how many things we're not even allowing ourselves to ask for. that if we allowed ourselves to start asking for it, would actually unfold all kinds of delicious possibilities right in front of us. So would you guys be willing to actually start undefining even what you've been willing to ask for and start something different?
Absolutely.
I wonder.
I mean,
go ahead.
That's such a great thing, is like, how often are we defining our asks to fit into something specific and then not seeing it show up and then being frustrated?
No, never do that. Well, and even a piece of like, okay, so then you're trying to figure out how to even ask for it. And
exactly.
Then, right, and then you ask for, like, well, I can't even ask for it because I don't know how to create it. I don't know how to do the steps. So then you stop yourself, like, cold in your tracks, and then you said the next piece, right? Then you get frustrated or angry with yourself, and you're like, see, I can't ever create anything. And, so it's like becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy, and, maybe it's just a little bit of fine-tuning, and, maybe there isn't anything, wrong with you. I wonder if we could... How about if we start undefining how many different ways we've made ourselves wrong and flip that on its
switch? Betsy, one of the things I'll ask my clients to do is to brag about themselves and to practice the muscle of bragging and celebrating.
Yes.
And to... we're talking a lot about the ways that, to be undefined and to not have judgment. And so then we go into the wrongness.
Mm-hmm.
But the opposite is, let's celebrate. Brag about yourself. Even if it's like, I had a shower today, or I remembered to floss my teeth. Like, that might be where you're at. All good. And the more, where you're going is the vibration of the now. So if your now is crunch, and you're still wondering how to get out of the crunch, you're just creating more crunch. But if you can flip your focus into a celebration, even if it's the smallest things of, wow, like I was kind to my neighbor today, even though in my past I wasn't, whatever that is, celebrating and bragging about the great things that are happening. We don't realize how much greatness is actually in our lives because we're not allowing ourselves to see it. And it's there. All you have to do is that 180 degrees. You just have to turn and look in a different direction. Oh, yeah, that is beautiful. And so celebrating the choices that you're making, bragging about yourself. Doesn't have to be to everyone in the world, but you got to know how awesome you are. And write it down. Like, how much fun would it be in the world if you use social media to celebrate your magnificence rather than your limitations?
What? I love that. And what if we all would, be willing to celebrate something that we've never even been willing to celebrate before? And the next piece of what you were saying, Christine, is even if you aren't comfortable celebrating it with anyone else, which I would encourage you to, if you're not, to start doing that. But how many things could you celebrate for yourself? And, twirl around the living room and say, oh, well, and I did whatever, and celebrate and embrace that beautiful celebration energy. And how much does that help to get you out of your definition of all the things you are or all the things you aren't? And what if that's another way you can kind of turn it all up on its ear?
Mm-hmm. You had a class, Betsy, just a while ago called Creating Yumminess with Your Body. And that's just that energy of creating yumminess. is a celebration. Like, we're, all these different ways that we could flip the switch to be undefined, to get unstuck. What if you took a week to just celebrate yumminess in all the different ways that it shows up for you? Whether it's, walking with your dog out in the field, or feeling your feet on really fluffy carpet, or celebrating with a really great meal with friends. That's, creating yumminess is a really fun energy. And what would that look like to create yumminess, even just in this moment? What could that look like for you? And what if that is a little bit of space and ease in your day? And what could that create for you?
Oh, such a relaxing question. As I can sense everybody's body's kind of melting. I love that so much. And I do. It's one of the things that I enjoy, probably one of the most things I enjoy. Well, there's some great English that I'm totally undefining and can't even put a sentence together here. is to contribute and create yumminess in my life and in everybody's life that, I know, whether I, see them in person or I'm on the phone with them or in a session or whatever. It's just like that nurturance energy and what can we all be and do to create that space where you just have that sense of nurturance and gratitude and space and peace and right. And then from there, it's like, oh yeah, now what can I go be and do and create? So, oh goodness. Oh yeah, that's so yummy. So yummy. And so I know that we're on for our second break, and I'm really enjoying, we're kind of gone all over the place today, which is certainly we had no preset agenda of where this undefined conversation was going to go. And stay tuned, you guys, for some more like this stories and conversation on Imperfect Brilliance. I'm Betsy McLaughlin here today with Christine and Michelle, and we'll be back in a couple.
Connecting you with the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Hello, I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, host of OMTimes Magazine's flagship radio show, What is Going On? My passion is sifting through information, research, and innovations from new thought teachers, speakers, and researchers pushing back the boundaries of what we know about life, energy, metaphysics, and the universe. I love shifting perceptions about who we are, why we're here, and how quickly impossible becomes normal when we open our minds, expand our awareness, and accept that the only limits that exist are those we place upon ourselves. So if you're the kind of forward-thinking, eager investigator of what lies beyond the current reality that most perceive, why not make a date to come play with me in the field of possibilities at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday, and together we can discover what's really going on.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Welcome back. Welcome back. I was trying to think of something really rhymey for Dr. Seuss, but I was drawing a complete blank. So I thought, well, I better at least say something since this is radio and you guys can't see me and you would just hear like nothingness. So welcome back to Imperfect Brilliance. I am your host, Betsy McLaughlin, and I invite you to check out my website at www.creatingyumminess.com. And we also have, of course, we've got a Facebook group for Imperfect Brilliance, and I'm on Facebook and Instagram, so you guys can find me. I also do a lot of classes. I'm a certified facilitator with Access Consciousness, and I do private sessions and classes online. And, when I can travel, I travel. And I'm based in the United States. And so let's see, what else do I want to tell you? Oh, and I would like to also invite Christine and Michelle to tell us a little bit about themselves and where people can find them. And but before I turn over those reins for a second, we do have a 10-day challenge coming up that is, and it's interesting because it's called Out of, and then like ... And it's the Out of Challenge. And we're going to talk about a whole bunch of different things. It's going to be a 10-day Facebook pop-up group, a free thing for you to join. And that'll start January 20th. And this is the year 2021. I almost said 2020, but 2021, in case you're listening this way in the future, but you'll probably still be able to find it. And you can certainly message me if you can't find it, as we're just finishing up the pieces now. But it will be a free challenge where we're going to talk. I'll go in every day and I'll do Facebook Lives, and we're just going to talk about some different tips and tricks and really what are some of the questions and stories and things that come up when you go out of form, out of structure, out of significance, out of all of the things, out of your boundaries, out of your comfort zone, like all of those things. So it's just going to be a place where we can play and contribute to each other. So I invite you guys to look for that and join us. And hey, so Michelle, tell us a little bit about you and where we can find you.
So you can find me on my website, Michelle with 2 L's, Lyall, Lyall, .com. And I don't have a dedicated niche per se. I do a lot of business consulting, behind the scenes, creating graphic design things, as well as facilitating personal things, and doing mind-body integrative therapies. So I've been working with, studying, and getting multiple degrees in everything that has to do with the mind and the body and the spirit my entire life.
How does it get even yummier than that?
I know. I love it. But one of my favorite things to do in the last couple of years is creation calls with facilitators and enlivening them with an idea that they'd like to have, and then putting it into action and making it happen. That's one of my favorite things in this 10 seconds.
I love it. And both of these ladies are absolutely brilliant, and I love playing and creating with them. So, all right. And then Christine, tell us a little bit about you.
Yes. Well, where do I start? So grateful to be here and to play with both of you always. So I live in a small little town of Current, Saskatchewan, Canada, and my passions are really all about joy. And for a long time, my business was called The Shining Joy. I was the shining joy guru. And I just really love infusing joy and ease and awesomeness into people's day. How I do that, I do lots of private coaching and counseling. I'm versed in lots of modalities, including drama therapy, expressive arts therapies, lots of different expressive arts tools that I integrate into people's daily life and living, and more and more and more. You know, I think in the journey of life, you realize that you know more than you realize, and that you're always hunger for knowing more as well. So there's lots of tools in my toolbox, and my total passion on the planet is to really infuse people and communities with more joy and more abundance and more awesomeness in lots of different ways. So it shows up privately in sessions with people, and also, you know, as Michelle was saying, creating with either companies or facilitators or businesses that are really looking for more joy in whatever way that can show up in their life. And it's really, really fun when you allow yourself to have fun. So you can find me on capacitiesunleashed.com. So that's what it's all about, is unleashing capacities. And everybody on the planet has infinite capacity. So I'm excited to bring that to people. Yeah.
I love it. So if everybody has infinite capacities, what in the heck are we doing limiting our capacities?
I know. How ridiculous is that?
We really are silly, aren't we?
Oh, my God. Yes. Yes. And, you know, we have these tools, and still, at least every Wednesday, I put my head in the sand. Like, it happens, and then we choose beyond it. And then we trip and we stumble, and we choose beyond it. And for me, that piece of being undefined is to not judge when you tumble, and not judge when you just had, like, you know, where you did eat the whole bag of cheesies or whatever. Like, we tip over and we tumble, and we make choices that take us into landscapes we don't always desire to be in. And that is such a gift to go, oh, okay, cool. I'm not going to choose that again. Awesome. And get up and choose a different road, perhaps less traveled. And I often refer to this poem, The Road Less Traveled by Robert Frost, that two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. And that for me is really, it's like, am I choosing what everyone else is choosing? Like, am I getting the family pack at McDonald's because everyone's getting the family pack at McDonald's? Or am I really willing to choose the road less traveled and actually be the road less traveled, which means not having a definition and just getting out the map and saying yes. And then another road will show up, and another road will show up. But when we stop choosing the road less traveled, in my point of view, we're no longer then creating our life.
If you stop choosing the road less traveled, then you're not creating your life. Boom. You know, and whose life would you like to be creating? You know, are you creating what you think that you're supposed to be doing? And, you know, if these questions are making you a bit uncomfortable, you know, like, then maybe there is something there for you. And I certainly, for quite a long time, I did what I thought I was supposed to do. And as I was doing what I thought I was supposed to do, it was making me pretty miserable because I wasn't doing what Christine talked about, you know, which was doing things that light you up. And, you know, Michelle talked about it as well. And now I do as well. I'm choosing things that really make me very happy and bring me a lot of joy. When I was not choosing those things and I was forcing myself to do things that I thought I was supposed to do, and I just got more and more miserable. And for a long time didn't feel like I didn't see a way out. I didn't know that I had other choices. I thought this was my lot in life. I really did for quite a long time. And that's where, I love talking about these things, because it's like, I was there and I've changed it, and I know you can change it. And I'm so, so grateful that to have these conversations and to hear from other people that have also had that, that they've overcome these different things. And they're like, yeah, you can go from a life of drudgery and monotony and there's no way out and I can't change anything, to like, you know what, there's like everything that I choose and create is like this beautiful, like the words are even hard to say, of what now I see as the possibilities and of what can be created, where before it was gray and drudgery and dreary and every day was the same. And oh my God. And, you'd look at the clock and you'd feel like it was at least 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and at work, and you'd been there an hour. It's like, oh dear God, how am I going to make it through another day? That's how I used to be, you guys. And so to be from there to what now is my life, I'm so, so, so grateful. And I still feel like it's the beginning. There's so much that I've not even explored yet. And so what about you, Michelle? Did you have a time in your life where you kind of went from some of the things that I might have just explained, or have you always been in your joy?
Oh, I wish. I wish. No, the first 30 years of my life, life was happening to me, and I thought that the best life was ever going to get was the most miserable I'd ever been in my life. And when I was 30, I made a really scary yet I just knew I needed to do it. A friend made some changes in her life, and she was super happy. And I looked at her, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "I called this guy, and here's his number." Mm-hmm. And I was like, "I have no idea what I'm doing." But I called the number and showed up at my healing session, and it opened the door to saving my life, basically. And that was the beginning of my journey. And since then, I've had many, many, many doors open. And at one point, a friend of mine we studied with the same teacher in healing natural medicine for years. And then she got cancer and died. And I thought, forget it, this stuff doesn't work. And I was super mad. And one day a woman said, "Hey, I do this energy work. Would you like a session?" And I said, "Well, why would I say no to that?" And so I had a session, didn't ask her any questions. And it was about 6 months later, I found out that she had ran bars on me. And I'm like, I don't know what that is, but I have to know. And so as soon as I figured out what bars were, I started listening to anything, reading and listening to anything about Gary Douglas. And one day I was listening to a podcast, and he was talking to someone who had cancer. And she was like, "Why do I keep getting cancer?" And he said, "Well, what are you dying to get out of?" And my whole body started crying. And I got it. Like, my friend just was ready to go, and I had never been able to hear that before. So all of those things combined, and a tenacity for there's got to be something better than this in my life, has got me to where I am now.
Yeah. Well, I feel like you just kind of hit a nail on the head, because I had a lot of the same thing. Like, there's got to be something more than what I'm choosing. And it was that, like you just said, it was that tenacity and that ask and the reaching for what that is, and not knowing. And that's a great example of the undefined. I had no idea. I just knew that I desired something different, and either that or I was going to be like, out, I'm gone, because this was just no longer something that I wanted to do. And so that reaching, that's, like, what if that's even part of undefining the restrictions and the boundaries that you put on yourself? And so, no matter where you guys are in your lives right now, like, is there any place where you could undefine? You might have an amazing life. Is there anywhere where you've defined something that maybe now you could undefine it? And so what other, we've only got, a short amount of time left. So how about if you guys each give us a question or a tool to play with?
I would say,
go ahead, Michelle. Sorry.
I would say, look at your life and find 3 things that are working for you and start focusing on them. It's when we're so driven to focus on the things that are wrong, to change, that we forget to even acknowledge and see the things that are working for us. And when you start to look at things that are working for you, it changes something.
Absolutely.
Thank you both so much. Yes, that's a beautiful question to end this with. Ask that question. What else is possible? What else is truly possible beyond anything you can even imagine and maybe even undefine? Thank you, ladies, so much. Thank you all for listening and tuning in to Imperfect Brilliance. So grateful for you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.